Welcome back to another episode of the Know Your Power podcast. I am your host, Kendall Aaliyah.
And I'm Julia Renee.
And we're talking about the Know Your Power retreat.
Yes.
That finally happened.
Yes. Wow. It was a lot.
Surreal. I'm like so curious on how you're currently feeling because like I just had to show up. I was just kind of there to hang out all weekend. You were the one that like you've poured so much time over the last 2 months coordinating everything, planning everything, working with all these women. So like how do you currently feel now that it's over?
Tired.
Yeah.
But in the best way, because after I do like big events or anything where I have to be around a lot of people, I always ensure that I do a lot of mental prep before going into it because I want to be completely and 100% there and present. And I was like, there was no part of me that feels like I slacked in that area. And usually it takes me about a week to recover from that. I'm also on prep, you know, like I'm also not eating a lot of food. You know, I'm already very limited in my resources. So I'm feeling even better by the day. My coach actually gave me Monday and Tuesday, today's Wednesday, off cardio as well. So I haven't done cardio in 4 days, 4 sessions. And I loved him. Like when he told me that, I slept in so late on Monday, like as late as I possibly could. It was like 10 a.m. But, and I was getting ready to do cardio, and I usually do a Monday check-in and a Thursday check-in. I texted him. He's like, how was your rest, just 2 rest days this weekend? And I was like, well, I didn't really rest. Like this is what we did for the retreat. And he's like,
Julia was on her feet the whole weekend.
The whole weekend. Yep. 1, because I have so much anxiety that I can't sit still. And 2, because I was running the retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of on the feet with heels. My feet the next morning, oh my God, I got out of bed and I was like, I was walking down the stairs like, ow, 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 ow. So,
well, you texted me Sunday. So it went, the retreat, we'll break it all down in a second, but it started Friday, ended Sunday. And you texted me, you were like, I got home and I took the longest nap and I didn't even realize that's how tired I was. Yep. Exact same. The second I got home, knocked out on the couch. And I was like, wow. Like I didn't realize how like mentally and physically exhausted I was.
Yeah. I got home from the Sunday portion of it. And then I still... the house was a mess because I always clean up after myself after everything that I do. Mm-hmm. But with how busy the weekend was and how like boom, 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 I wasn't able to do that. Mm-hmm. So I had stuff everywhere. Zach would say, and
I'm sure it was way cleaner than the average person's apartment.
Normal people would be like, it's fine, but I cannot relax until I have a clean space. So I put my headphones on, put on a true crime podcast because it relaxes me. Weirdo. And I cleaned the house and I cleaned all the downstairs, like everything was put exactly where it was. Incense were going, scent fresheners, all the things, cleaned up everything, organized all the stuff from the retreat. And then I sat on the couch and Zach was like, you're fucking crazy, because he's already on the couch watching TV while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just going to lay my head down for a second. I had my headphones on. I said, I'm just going to lay my head for a second. And then I just like started falling asleep there. And I was like, Zach, I have to get up and clean upstairs, though. The upstairs isn't clean yet. And he's like, Julia, no. And I was like, maybe I'll just lay my head down for a second. And I fell asleep for like 3 hours.
For like hours, yeah.
And then after that, I cleaned the upstairs. But it was like, I constantly do that. Like I'll force myself to continue to work or to clean or to do those things.
You deserve a break.
Even though I'm tired.
I'm so glad your coach gave you a few more rest days. I know.
And then today's like my actual rest day from lifting. And it's just like these past 2 days with working out on Monday and Tuesday, like my workouts have been kind of shit just because I'm still tired. Like I'm still exhausted and I'm emotionally drained too, in the best way. Of course, I wouldn't change it for anything, but I'm like, I just feel like I need a week of not doing any training at all, but it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, we're fine.
Soon.
Tomorrow I'll feel better.
Yes.
I know that. Every day I'm feeling better.
Take your break today. Live in it.
Yeah. But it was the most absolute incredible weekend day of my entire life.
I don't know what I think I had no expectations going into it. I was like, I'm going to support Julia, to support these girls, to like meet those who listen to the podcast, stuff like that. But I don't think I like expected to walk away feeling as like refreshed of a mindset as I did. You're like, you knew.
Yeah, I knew. We'll get to that part
Yeah,
too.
no, it was insane. And it was like, I'm also so proud of you as like watching you as your friend and like watch you achieve these things and like knowing how deserving you are of it. So it was just really, really cool to walk away from.
It was unreal. Like, of course I have moments during it. I mean, the week leading up to it, I was an anxious mess. I'm already just kind of prone to anxiety, but that week I was just an anxious mess because I wanted everything to be so perfect and I wanted everything to make sure it went on time, all the food to be there, the girls to like have an incredible time. You know, I just wanted everything to go right. And then once I got there, it was like, it couldn't have gone any perfect than it did.
Yeah, everything was like great.
And even if it didn't matter because that was how it was supposed to, it couldn't have gone any other way because that's how it was supposed to go.
Yeah.
You know, like what happened. And it started Friday night because the VIPers, there were two different ticket options. There's a VIP ticket and there's a general admission. The VIP ticket got an additional day on Friday night and on Sunday where we did like a group dinner, lunch.
Yeah.
And then the general admission, they just went to the Saturday event, which is the all-day event. So
Yeah.
Friday night, we all met at True Food Kitchen, which is like this healthy restaurant here in Austin, Texas. We got to meet the 7 girls, and it was cool because they felt, of course, like walking into something like that is like really scary.
Yeah, you're
You don't
nervous.
know anybody.
I was nervous.
Yeah, same. And we got to meet these 7 girls, and they were so incredible. We even had one girl that was 16 years old that came with her older sister. It was Haley and Brooke, and oh my God, they were so adorable. They reminded me of my sister and me. Our relationship, to where like the little girl, of course, like she was a little bit more shy. She was a little more reserved, and the older sister was a little bit more like loud and everything. And it reminded me of me and my sister. And I feel like those personalities get along very well because you kind of balance each other. And we got to meet those girls, and then me, Kendall, and Zach all went to the dinner, plus them 7. And we had such a good time. Like, it was amazing. We had inside jokes, everything.
That really helped me personally, and I think it helped them too.
Yes.
Kind of like break the ice for the weekend, because now we had each other.
Yes.
So like, if anything, going into the next day where there's like quadruple the amount of women going to be there, now we have like a core group where like, I know these people, they know me. We can like find each other if we feel overwhelmed at all. Yeah.
That's what they said. At the end of the dinner Friday night, they were like, I'm so glad that I came to this because now like I have friends that I can sit with tomorrow at the retreat and I feel comfortable. And what ended up happening is like there were no cliques at all.
I noticed that, and
Not at all.
it's so nice because not just in school, it's not just like high school cliques.
It's like
almost every job you can have, if you're working with coworkers, like cliques form, like different groups kind of evolve, and they kind of like neglect the other people not in their group and all that stuff. I saw and like witnessed every single woman interact with each other at least once. So like everyone was crossing over. No one was staying just in their pair or just in their group. Even some people that came with other people, even Brooke and Haley, like she like had her 16-year-old sister go off on her own and like talk to women on her own. And that was just so cool to see.
It was really cool. And I was not surprised by it, but yeah, I wasn't surprised. Yeah, that didn't surprise me.
It was just nice to see.
It was just like, oh, this is super cool.
Yeah.
And then Saturday came around. So Saturday was like the full day where everything happened. We had the guest speakers, we had the food, we had the workshop that Zach and I did, the breath work. And so I woke up at like 5:30 in the morning and I did 2 pages of journaling, setting my intentions, getting everything ready. And then Zach and I had to go to Starbucks to pick up 2 carafes of coffee. And I literally, the day before, I went to that Starbucks and paid for it, ordered it, and told them the exact time that we were going to come and pick it up. We get there and it's not ready.
Not ready. Oh.
I was like, of course. It was so crazy, but it ended up being fine. We were only like a couple minutes late to the opening of like when we had to get there to start setting everything up.
It's funny because I woke up at like 6-ish, which is really early
Yeah.
for me these days. And I was like, oh, I'm up early. I'm going to be ready. And I was still somehow like 15 minutes late.
Yeah.
I was like, of course.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure she expects me to be late at this point.
Yep. And then even my little sister had to get balloons for the front door.
I heard about this.
And it was so funny because she had to get the balloons for the front door. She ordered them also the night before. She gets there and she texted me. She goes, nobody's here to make the balloons.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, no.
I didn't know that part. I just heard about them all popping.
Yes, because we had from 8 a.m. till 9 a.m. to set the entire room up. It was not not a lot of time. And for the prep people who had the morning breakfast ready for everybody to set up. And so Zach was setting up the speakers and he turned it to a level that was like, it popped all the balloons besides 2.
I didn't know that would actually
I didn't know that was
I
a
thought
thing.
that was like only in movies.
I didn't know that was a thing. It literally, because I thought that the speakers were popping. I thought that's what that noise was. I was like, he just freaking blew all the speakers. And we look up, there's only 2 balloons left.
That's crazy.
And my
That's
little
like, you know,
sister-
in like Shrek when like Fiona sings to the bird and the bird explodes.
The bird explodes. It's like that. The bird's like,
Same energy.
yeah, it was definitely that kind of energy. And Chloe, my little sister, was like, oh my God. Because she literally
And she also just stressed.
ordered it, waited long, ended up being late because of it. And she goes, nobody buys 2 balloons. Who buys 2 balloons? And so we had 1 on each door.
That's so funny. It still looked good. I got there after that and there were only 2 balloons and I thought it was intentional.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's fine.
it was like 10 balloons.
Okay.
And he popped all but 2.
That's crazy.
It was hilarious. But yeah, and then when girls started coming in anywhere between like 9 and 10 a.m. because that's when we had the breakfast and like connection. And you could tell it's like everyone's nervous. People are coming in with their journals, all comfy with their water bottles and stuff. We had girls bringing their prep food and stuff. Because I told them, I was like, we have the availability for you to do this. We have a fridge, we have microwave, bring your scales. Like there's no judgment here. Do whatever you need to do. Because I was bringing my prep food. We had my friend Katie, who is a vegan. So she brought some of her food. But we also had accommodations for people that had all kinds of allergies
Which was
and stuff.
so nice for me.
Yeah, like gluten-free, vegan, whatever it was, soy-free, stuff like that. And you could just like, everyone started coming in. You got to see everyone's little personalities. My mom and my little sister ran the check-in table where they got their name tags and like the itinerary so that everyone knew each other's names. And it was just cool seeing all the different women that came in because there was
so diverse of a group.
literally like it truly didn't matter because if you were considering coming to the Know Your Power retreat, but you were scared, those girls were too. Mm-hmm. They really were because it is scary going into a room full of women and you're like, oh my God, how do I look? Are they judging me? Like you just start like over analyzing like we tend to do. And there was girls from the age of 16 all the way up to like somewhere in their 50s.
Yep.
It didn't matter what age, what background you came from,
How outgoing, how shy you are.
we had both.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that there were more outgoing girls and there were more shy girls and they helped each other out.
Yeah, by the end, I feel like everyone was like on the same wavelength.
100%.
Yeah.
Like it was
Which is crazy to accomplish in a day.
Yes. It was like a day. And that's why, because when they came in, like it was so different from when they left. Mm-hmm. Like you come in all nervous and you're like sitting down. You're like, what do I do?
I felt kind of like I've never been like a teacher in front of a classroom, but that's like almost how I felt because I was able to like observe how everyone was behaving in the beginning and then like watching individuals that I would kind of like focus on a little and be like, oh, she's like a little reserved or shy, by the end be like flourishing and like having fun and talking to everyone. And I'm like, that's so cool to witness.
That was the part where I started just breaking down crying, seeing the girls that came in and that were like, they didn't want to open up. They were a little shy because that's me at my core. I'm that girl that doesn't want to get up and do it, like to be involved and like hides in the corner. So when I saw those girls completely just break free, get out of their comfort zone, be vulnerable, I started bawling because I can see myself in all of those women. And that was the thing, is that was the purpose of this retreat, was to show them that like we're all the same, but we've been separated for so long. And we'll kind of go into this a little bit later because that's what our first guest speaker was talking about. But yeah, I mean, we had our food from Prep Time.
The food was all really good. And I like how they like customized everything with the Know Your Power stickers.
They had
so
the
cute.
Know Your Power logo on everything, and everything was just so adorable. Like it had its own little packaging and labels. It was so cute. I was obsessed with it. I was like, I want to keep one of everything forever.
And you have a YouTube video coming out of the retreat, right? Okay. So for those who haven't seen photos and stuff already, once that video is out, you can definitely like see all the details we're talking about.
Yeah, you'll be able to see the little details they added to it. And then from 10 a.m. to 10:30, that's when we finally like started everything. All the girls were sitting down. I did an opening talk, which was very scary. Very scary.
You held it together really well, though. You didn't seem nervous at all. I was like, dang, she's like, because I think you voiced to me like 2 weeks ago that like you never thought you'd be speaking in front of people. And you looked like you've done it a million times.
Well, I have spoken in front of people before, but not at something at an event that I was running. Like it was really a full circle moment of being somebody that could barely speak to people in person, would never speak to strangers, who'd never speak on a podcast, would never make a YouTube video about her life or anything, to speaking in front of a bunch of women.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Insane. And then we went to our first guest speaker, which was she was my coach for 2 years. One of my best friends, Liv Wickedly.
We've had her on the podcast.
We've had her on the podcast. You guys know her. You love her. She had the most incredible talk. What do you feel like you got from that?
I think she was the first one to force everyone kind of out of their comfort zone and get them kind of like up and talking and moving. And I think she is just like such like a sure of herself free spirit that she leads by example. So I think that's what I took away, because I didn't participate, but I was watching. And she makes everyone feel like very seen and comfortable, which I think is really important, especially to kick off a day that might be nerve-wracking.
It was the reason that we put her at the beginning was super intentional. It was very intentional, because the way that she can bring you out of your comfort zone and open you up, because you're right, she just leads by example. Like when you meet her, you just want to be friends with her, and she makes you feel so important, so safe, so cared for. Like when my mom met her, that was like one of her first times meeting her. My mom was like, I love Liv. Liv is my best friend.
Even when we've had her on the podcast, my dad has called me about her specifically. He has never called me about any guest or like any episode. And he's like, she just like the way she speaks like commands a room. And I'm like, I know.
Yes.
Cool.
And she commands you to step into your power.
Yeah.
And her whole like thing, I didn't know exactly what she was going to have like on her PowerPoint. I knew what she was going to get the girls to do, but I didn't know exactly how the PowerPoint was going to go. And I had no idea that she was going to involve so much of the Know Your Power brand.
You were on a slide.
She put me on a slide, and it was like, what would Julia do?
But not what, I forget what it used to be, like that saying, but
what would
like,
Jesus do?
Yep, that's it. But yeah, it's what would Julia do?
Yeah, I mean, it was so wild. Like I learned so much from her talk, even though I'm obviously friends with her in real life and I know so much about her, but I got to learn so much more.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things that she talked about, the biggest takeaway was how magical things happen when women commune together. And
she made a joke that if this happened like X amount of years ago, we would have been like burned at the stake, which is true.
And it would have been witchcraft.
Yes. Like it makes it like funny, but it's true. Like women have always been separated and like taught to compete against each other, and that there's only a certain amount of resources for us, or men for us, or whatever.
Exactly. I mean, even if you just look back to like all of the chick flicks that we watched growing up, it's always Mean Girls and like them fighting with each other, competing with each other. And of course, maybe like at the end, they're all friends, but it's true. Like we've been conditioned to think this is how it has to be, and that we can't find genuine connections in women. This is also why women struggle with finding other friends. And we proved all of that wrong.
Yeah.
During this retreat, all of that wrong, because we had women from all walks of life. It didn't matter what age you were, what background, and they all became friends. So that stereotype, not true. It's a lie.
Yep.
is a complete lie. And then after that, I feel like all of the girls were just so much more comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
After her exercise of getting them to get out of their comfort zone. We're not going to go too in deep into each and everything because you have to come.
Yeah, we got to leave the surprises.
You just have to come. It's unreal. And then that got everybody closer and more comfortable with each other, and broke the ice really fast, which is great. Because
also, I think like seeing Anna also like participate, she really made it like more comfortable for everyone too. But yeah, them as a duo is always great.
Oh yeah. And next time, now I know that I'm going to be a part of that. Like me and you have to be a part of that part, because seeing them have us get into that will be even better.
Again, it's like leading by example.
Yes. And I was just like watching, and then I realized later, I was like, oh my God, I could have been a part of that and I wasn't. Crap. But yeah, seeing other women get out of their comfort zone helps the shyer ones get out of their comfort zone, which is exactly what happened. And then everyone got to listen to Kirsten, Kirsten Mark flew all the way from Canada. Bruh.
She was also such an angel.
She was so sweet. If you guys don't know who Kirsten Mark is, she's amazing. I literally met her one time at FitCon. We became friends. I talked to her all night. She's so inspiring. She's a mom. She went through her whole story of like getting pregnant at 16 and then having her child. And she's the hottest mom I've ever seen. And she has like
staring at her the whole time. Yeah, she's beautiful.
Yeah, she has like the dark black hair and like piercing blue eyes.
She reminds me of Jazzy a lot, like body and face.
Jazzy Fit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, not story. Yeah. Not story.
Yeah, so she went through her whole story, and I think she really touched I'm so glad that we had her there, because she really touched all the moms, because we had a lot of moms in the room, and we won't give away her whole speech because it's just so incredible, but I'm glad that she was there because there was a lot of moms in the room.
She made me cry.
Yeah, she made everybody cry.
And I'm not a mom. And then I still related to it so much, and like hearing her own story, it was just like beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing that I took from her was burn the boats. So she says this saying of burn the boats, meaning like you give yourself no other option but to succeed. And that's what she did in her life so that she can create a better life for her daughter. And I really took that with me like going forward. And I've already made very big, messy action yesterday with that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it later.
For the better.
Yeah, I burned the boats yesterday.
Every time I have burned the boats, every time I've given myself no other options, success has always come from it. It's like true. When I started my business, I would literally, my training business at least. So I was working under someone else, and I contacted her about something. We had a disagreement, and I said, you know what? Like, I'm leaving. Basically, I quit / got fired. It was kind of a mutual, like, we're done here. And that night I made my website, and I was like, I need to get clients, like, or I'm not paying rent.
Yes, that's exactly what happened to me. I remember it was literally December 19th, 2019. And I was supposed to be working.
We were really close because mine's January 20th, 2020.
So
we're like a month apart.
That's crazy. We didn't even know each other then.
Nope.
Wow. Yeah, it was like I was still working at the salon, and I was supposed to work there through like the holidays and everything. And I just said, no, I'm done. I'm done. I literally went, and December 19th was the very last day. And I was like, I'm done. I remember the exact day. And I gave myself no other option but to succeed on my online fitness business and my social media and all of that. And I literally was this close not to making rent.
Yep.
This close. And I signed my first client and was able to make rent.
That's awesome.
So burn the boats.
Burn the boats.
That's what I leave. Give yourself no other option but to succeed.
She took it to the extreme. Not to share her story, but she took it to the
And she was saying, she's like, I'm not saying go and do this. Like go and like quit your job and like do all these things. But do whatever you can to make it so that you have no other option but to succeed.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That was great. And then after that, we had lunch. And then after that, we had lunch. And by this time, I feel like everybody was so much closer. I feel like every time we went on a break, it got louder and
Yeah.
louder and louder because everyone was talking and everybody was like besties by that time.
And we also were taking mini breaks where all the women would step outside and like they would all kind of like chat amongst themselves.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were talking about like what the speakers had just said, what
Yeah.
they took away from it, stuff like that, while we like rearranged the room for the next speaker. So yeah, I think each of those times gave them an opportunity to like talk to each other, relate to each other,
Yeah.
stuff like that too.
And we also had a lot of moments during the retreat where they would do a certain exercise or something and they would have times to like reflect. So they would be able to say how it made them feel, stuff like that. And it was just crazy how at first nobody wanted to talk. And then by the end, everyone was like, me.
It was so cool. Again, seeing some of those people in the beginning, I was like observing
Yes.
them, and that you could tell they were more shy, reserved, kind of like holding themselves back. By the end, they were the ones speaking up and like
That
standing
was
up in front of everyone. It was
incredible.
Cool. Yeah.
Like that was incredible to see. And so hopefully it brings you some comfort that if you're somebody that is like Kendall and I are kind of naturally and doesn't want to speak up, doesn't want to say how they're feeling, is a little more reserved, wants to hide in the back, those people felt safe enough in order to do that. And that was unbelievable. After that, Zach and I did our workshop from about 2 to 4:30.
I participated.
Kendall did this workshop.
Yep.
Well, we're not going to go into exact things that Zach and I did because even the girls who were at the retreat didn't know what was a part of this. And this, I feel like, was the meat of everything that happened.
Yeah.
And the biggest form of transformation because they actually got to actively do it.
Yeah, it was an
practice
experience,
It was
yeah.
an experience. They actually got to practice these things. How did you feel doing these?
I experienced every single emotion that there is to experience. I think I went from like laughing to crying to laughing to like it was definitely a lot of emotions, but I think as soon as it was over, like I could not stop smiling.
Yeah.
Like I just felt so much lighter, and also watching not just like myself transform, but the people, like every single woman in the room, like watching all of them too. I think it like the whole room felt lighter, and we all felt like way more connected, and it was just like really moving more than anything else.
It was like, I feel like coming into it, there might have been some people that came into it feeling very heavy and weighed down. And I probably did too, meaning because so much is just going on, whether it's like work life, stuff like that. Maybe you're just feeling down on yourself. And then after that, it was such an energy release to where you left it all there in the room and you didn't take any of that crap home with you.
Yeah.
And everything was so much lighter and you had more energy than you realized.
And I've thought about like that part of the retreat like 100 times a day since the retreat. So like that's how impactful it was, that like every day I think I'm reminding myself of like kind of what we learned there.
Yeah, exactly. That was my favorite, absolute favorite part. And I forgot to mention this, but when we broke for lunch before the workshop that Zach and I did, one of the girls grabbed me. It was Brooke, which is the older sister to Haley. And she said something to me that really impacted me and I never thought of. She goes, could you believe that if you never stepped into your power all those years ago, we wouldn't be here able to do it ourselves? And I was like, no.
Can I tell you
I didn't realize that. Thanks.
that Brooke was also the woman that at the end of what Zach and Julia had put on. So at the end, so this was before that.
Yes.
After that, at the end, one of the things we had to do was in small groups, and she was in my small group. And what she said to me was like, not the same, but she said something along the lines of like, I feel like you're in the beginning of this new chapter, and like you're about to start impacting. And I was like, so yeah, shout out to Brooke.
Yeah, we were like, okay.
She really hit us home.
I was like, thanks. I had no.
I was like, yeah. How did you know that?
I was like, I didn't realize that, but thank you. You know,
yeah.
and that's the thing, is that these women were able to see the power in each other without even knowing them for a day.
And it was so genuine. Like
Yes.
every compliment given or received, none of it felt fabricated or like they didn't truly
Yeah.
mean it. Like everything I said to any other woman in there, like I felt it in my whole heart.
Yeah, because
like I felt so connected to them.
you're able to drop like all the walls and all the BS and just actually be in the energy of that person. And it's like you know them. And when you're actually in the energy of that person, you feel like you know them forever. You've
Yeah.
known them forever, and they were able to do
And
that.
I have never ever had that with other women like that. Like especially not it coming easy. Like if
Yeah.
anything, I would have to know them for like a year
Yes.
to feel that level of comfort. So yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
That was
applause
wild.
to that one because that one was like crazy.
I was like, okay. And then after that, we kind of like slowed things down. My friend Justin Lovato, he's an amazing breathwork facilitator. We've known him for a little bit now. He actually was friends with Emily Hayden, and she introduced us to him, and we've been friends with him ever since. And he did breathwork, meditation, and a sound bath. It was the most beautiful thing ever. We put down all of the drapes and we made it like dark, but there was still a little
It was, like,
natural
cozy.
light. He had the setup of a freaking G. Every girl had a yoga mat. They had a pillow for their neck. They had a mask
mask.
for their eyes. They had a blanket.
Yeah.
And they had a like a squishy foot
I need to buy one of those
elevator.
also. I want to participate in that one so bad
Yes.
next time because I had to leave the room because I don't trust myself with how loud I am. So like I went next door. I fully fled the scene, but yeah, like you could tell how I guess like relaxing it was, and it like I think gave all of the women an opportunity after all of these like heavy, deep conversations and
like, process
yeah, to
and
like sit
release.
there and sit with themselves. Yeah.
And Liv was there in the room. We wanted to keep the energy very safe and protective. So I was very mindful of how many people were in the room. So
Especially
I had
how many men.
Yeah, especially how many men were in the room, because we had a lot of men that were helping like move all of the things, and a lot of people that just volunteered their time,
Yeah.
which is I'm unbelievably grateful that they were able to do that. And so I had Zach and Liv and Anna there in the breathwork area because there was a lot of energy moving around. Like when you do breathwork, a lot of stuff releases. And what's her name? Liv does Reiki, so she can move energy.
Yeah.
And oh my God, after that, she was like, there was a lot of energy that was released. Like I was watching her and it was crazy. So
Yeah.
she was supposed to be on the Q&A panel with us, and she was like, I can't right now because when you do Reiki, you kind of like take on a lot.
I
So
imagine how
had
she feels this week.
Yeah,
I
she
would
had
be
to
even more
release.
exhausted.
Yeah, it was nuts. So yeah, we did that. And then after that, we had dinner. Everyone got to make their own little protein bowls, make your own protein bowls, which was so awesome because they had a bunch of like toppings, and they had like steak and they had chicken. You got to make your own little protein bowl. And at this point, the girls were just like
Best friends.
besties. They were like so loud. And then we kind of broke it for a little bit. And me, Kendall, and Savannah Joy, which is one of my good friends that
Also on the pod.
I met. Yeah, she's also been on the pod. We did a Q&A. And honestly, the Q&A kind of surprised me. Like it went a way that I wasn't expecting, which it's a Q&A, so I don't know what I was expecting. But we just had like the girls ask us any questions that they had about like fitness, mindset, nutrition, and social media. Like that was one of the biggest topics that we talked about there.
Yeah.
And so while they're eating, we just sat there and did a little Q&A, and it was so chill and like relaxed, which I really loved. And yeah, we talked about a lot more than I thought we were going to do. It
It
was
went
like,
by really fast too. I feel like we could have done another like easy like
Oh,
30
for
minutes to an
sure.
hour of questions.
and
yeah.
Zach was telling me afterwards that the girls really loved the Q&A. Like they really loved the way that it went and like the advice that we were giving on social media growth and stuff like that. And I didn't know it was going to go that way. But
Yeah.
we talked about a lot of different things. We even talked about like tips on like growing your social media, content creation, body dysmorphia, like what we do to keep our minds right when there's so much social media crap
Yeah.
around. And
Yeah.
I really liked it. It was great.
Same.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I was weirdly nervous. Like I was chill all day. I talked to every girl at least once,
That's
and
funny.
still sitting in front of them, I was like, oh, anxious right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, once I started talking, it felt very comfortable.
You just think of it as like a podcast.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
We're just podcasting.
Exactly.
We're just podcasting to an audience. But that'd be cool to do like a podcast.
That is the thing people do. People go
I
on like
know.
podcast tours, so we could like include a mini podcast segment.
That would be cool. I know we have
That'd be fun.
we have so many ideas for it. It's just crazy. And then after that was like the end from about 7 to 7:30. We ended with like just like a big hoopla of all the girls. And this moment was super impactful for me because they brought my mom into the middle. I think it was Stephanie brought my mom because my mom was there all day helping with whatever she could because she's awesome.
She was like sitting in the back of the room experiencing everything everyone else was, but from like slightly out of the circle.
Yeah.
So to be brought into the circle was
literally
cool.
One of the girls who was, I think she was a VIPer, Stephanie, went to go grab my mom and brought her into the circle. And I was just like, I lost it. I was like, oh my God, my mom's in the middle. And it's just that they felt comfortable enough to like go and, you know, bring my sister in and bring my mom in. It's like they knew who they were. And that was just impactful to see because my mom was like, I don't know what to do though. Like, why am I here? And I was like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I was like, it doesn't matter. She goes, when did you learn how to dance? I was like, I don't know how to dance. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, just move around. Yeah.
And it was just crazy for me to see that because I can see where I came from, you know, like my mom. A lot of the attributes that I've picked up came from my mom. And I just saw myself in my mom and seeing her there being like shy and like uncomfortable. I was like, I'm just like that. Like I could see myself in my mom. So that was incredible for her to be able to be brought into that closing thing. And then we gave all the girls a special little gift that we won't talk about now, but
I think one of my favorite parts of the whole day was watching them react to the little gift.
When they got the gift and they all did a unanimous, aww. It was so cute. Yeah. And then that was it.
Yeah. I just, again, with that like ending little thing we all did together, I think, again, just reflecting on how different it was from the beginning of the day was like, crazy.
All the girls just coming in, like staying to themselves, like staying in their little bubble, to all being like joined together as a sisterhood with walls just completely broken down. It was unreal.
And like me included, like I'm definitely a shy person. You're a shy person, or like at least we used to be. And it's kind of cool to like step into that like more outgoing side. And even though it's out of your comfort zone, once you're in it, you're like, oh, this isn't so scary. This isn't so bad. Yeah.
It was unreal. And then Sunday we did the little team workout where we all did.
It was a huge team workout.
I'm glad that we went early because we were taking over the whole gym. There was like 30 girls. All of us split up into groups. And at this point they were all friends.
Yeah.
So like we had some upper body girl groups. We had some lower body groups. And then Kendall and Zach and I were just like bopping around, like helping people where they needed to.
I sat at the gluteator, whatever, the whole day because everyone was like, wait, can you show me how to do it? Wait, can you like push me on this? I'm like, yeah, of course.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I was the designated gluteator girl of the day.
Designated booty girl. Yeah, and it was so cool because they all just like worked out together and they were all friends and they were talking about hanging out and they were talking about the next one and how at the next retreat they all want to get like an Airbnb together. And I was like, this is why we do this. This is why we do this because women can and should commune together. And it doesn't have to be a competition and it doesn't have to be like, we don't have to overthink it. We can just be because we're all here for the same purpose and the same reason. And that's to just get better and to grow. And they even taught me a new glute exercise that I'm adding to my routine. I was like,
kind of like the curtsy squat thing,
the curtsy squat, but on the on a landmine. I was like, guys, this is bomb. It was just so much fun, and we all got to like take photos and stuff like that afterwards. And then
there was really another like takeaway is there was zero judgment felt or given or anything. Like it was a very like a true. I know people say all the time like judgment free zone. It really was. It was like there was zero judgment for anything anyone said, anyone asked. Like girls were asking me advice on the most like random things, and I just like if anything, I felt like honored they were asking me these questions.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and even during the workout, which like you would think that, okay, we're just working out, we're only talking about workout stuff, but that also gave the girls an opportunity to open up about even more things that they did, like stuff that they were struggling with, whether it was like fitness or body dysmorphia or nutrition or things in their personal life. Like it gave us an additional opportunity to open up to each other about it, which was great. Like the conversation just kept continuing. Like it never got stale. It was nuts.
It was cool.
And then the VIPers, we all took them to barbecue after that. So it was those same 7 girls from the Friday night. And then we had to say bye, and I was sad.
Another duality moment. I feel like the whole weekend was just watching people change. But like from night one, that dinner to the lunch, like I felt like we were all best friends by the lunch.
We had known each other forever, and it's been like a day.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But guys, we're going to have more of these. We already have 2 planned for next year.
Really?
Yeah. If you want to be the first to be notified when it goes live, there's going to be a link in the description to join the wait list. And basically what that just means is you're going to be emailed first when ticket sales go up for the retreat. But if you've been thinking about it and considering it and something had been telling you to go, but maybe you didn't, it's not too late. All of us felt super scared and nervous going into it. And all the girls that there were some girls that almost didn't come. Like a lot of them were very vocal that they didn't want to come, but they knew that this was something that they had to do, and they were so happy that they went. And if that's you, don't
lean into it.
Lean into it. You know, there's something calling you to go, so lean into it. But we love you all so much, and you're more powerful than you think.
Bye.
Bye.